Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for taking a little time out of your day to watch my video, and I appreciate it. I appreciate all the views I can get. If you haven't, maybe do me a favor and take a minute to hit that subscribe button and that like button and help out my channel. Get me out there a little more, help me grow. I appreciate it. I can't do it without you. Without you guys, I'm basically just wasting my time making videos for myself. So I appreciate all you that subscribe and all you guys that like and comment and everything. And I just yeah, so help me out, and if you haven't, please do so. So I'm back in my truck. Again, like I've said on numerous videos, you might notice the theme, but I'm a busy guy, full-time employee, full-time student, full-time father of 4, husband. So any chance I get a free moment, I like to create a video and kind of go over some stuff, and that usually means I'm either sitting in my truck or at one of my kids' activities, or sitting in my truck at my lunch break at work, or sitting in my closet for a few minutes at home where it's the only place I can get some silence. But yeah, so here I am once again in my truck, and I just kind of wanted to go over what I think my most utilized and honestly probably my favorite part of my window managers is. I'm a big fan of window managers. I've got, like I said, a dozen or so on my system. You know, in my last video I kind of showed you different images, screenshots of my different window managers. Just going over the basic idea of how you can customize Linux. So if you haven't, go ahead and check that video out too. It's just basically a tip for new users to Linux, and how you can customize your system and make it look however you want, so not to get pigeonholed into thinking you have to pick a certain distribution for an aesthetic. So yeah, check that video out. It's advice to the new user, I think. I can't remember exactly what it's called, but anyway, today I wanted to kind of go over probably, like I said, my favorite aspect of the window managers and my most utilized part of my window managers. It's a great tool. It is completely and utterly the most used thing I have on my system, I believe. And you know, that's saying a lot, because I use my system for for everything from obviously videos to image, Photoshop type stuff. You know, I can't think this morning. Excuse me. You know, messing with images and stuff like that. I use it for listening to music. I use it for doing my schoolwork. I use it for everything. And probably the most utilized thing on my system is what I'm going to cover today. So let's just get into it. I love the terminal. I've said this in numerous videos. I love getting in the terminal. I love being in the terminal. I love doing everything in the terminal. So that being said, I guess realistically the terminal is my most used tool in this, but this goes hand in hand with that, and that is going to be Scratchpad. I love me some Scratchpads. This is my XMonad configuration, and on this one alone I've got numerous Scratchpads. I think I have like 5 of them. So I've got this Scratchpad, which is just a pop-up terminal for me, so whenever I need to get in I can pop it up and then I can close it out, and you can see when I open it back up it's still running the same thing I had in there before. So that one's nice. I'm not going to pop it up because it's probably got some sensitive stuff in there, but I've got my email. My email is set up for a Scratchpad, so I can just pop it up and close it and just keep it running in the background. Yeah, and it gives me a little icon there to show me. I also have, well, let's just open my XMonad config, since we're in XMonad. And we're going to go down here. We're going to scroll all the way down, and these here are, as you can see, my Scratchpads. So I have a Scratchpad for my terminal. I have a Scratchpad for my terminal file manager for Ranger. Basically, if we hit, I believe it is Alt-R, you can see my Ranger Scratchpad. I have music, NCM PCPP, which basically, if I go with Alt-N, that brings up my configuration of NCMP CPP. That was my email. That was a quick shot. I shouldn't say there's anything sensitive on there because I really don't have anything sensitive, but I have a calculator set up to quick spawn. So if I hit Alt-C, that brings up a calculator real quick for me. My email, and then I have this one here, which is if I do Alt-E, then that brings up my script. I have a video on the script too, so if you want to check that out, you can. But it brings up this for my script to access configuration files, my most commonly accessed configuration files. So yeah, those are just kind of my Scratchpads on here. I have these ones on XMonad, which if you're going to do a Scratchpad in XMonad, what you got to do is first you got to import the module for it. Let's see, where are we? It's named Scratchpads, I believe is what it's called. And I'll have to go through, I guess I can go named, I don't know, maybe it's just Scratchpads. No. Now we'll have to search for the. If you come up here to all the modules, let's just scroll down through. What you got to do is you have to. Oh yeah, right there, named Scratchpads. So you got to import the XMonad util named Scratchpads. So you're going to want to put that up in your imports if you have XMonad. And then once you have that in there and you have that imported, you come down here into your autos or. You come down here and enter your named Scratchpads. I'm not going to completely go through. And then you assign them here, basically, what you want each one of them to be. NS. The NS is basically, if you look up here, under the named Scratchpads, you can see I have it as NS, which means anytime I put that NS there, it's going to know that it's this, this module. And so you then assign what you want. So terminal, ranger, NCMP, all that stuff here. And then you put your rules there. And then you come down here and you define what they are. So terminal one here, spawn term my terminal plus plus. So it's going to spawn whatever terminal I have set as the variable. And then I want it to be a Scratchpad, so it's going to be Scratchpad. That's going to be the title of the window, so that way it knows what window it's looking for when you use your hotkey to show it and hide it. And then this says it's custom floating, and then this gives me the dimensions I want. And so the same goes for each one of them. You just assign it the title and everything, dimensions, how you want it to show, floating or not. And then once you have all this set, you go down into your keybinds here, and you can set up. I have right here Scratchpads. You can set up your keybind for your Scratchpads, and that's basically how you do this in XMonad. Again, this is a real quick and dirty description. I'm not going to re-edit my file to go through it. Maybe one day when I actually go through my entire file, I'll just rebuild it on camera and kind of walk through how to do that. But that's it on XMonad. I also have it on DWM and i3. So if we do i3, and we want Scratchpads on i3, basically there's a few things you got to add to your configuration file, just like anything else. So what you're going to want to add here is you're going to want to go into and set up your terminal. Go into your config file and set up your terminal. We'll start with that. So then you're going to want to go down to your window rules, and in your window rules, I have it named as dropdown. So you're going to want to make your rules for your Scratchpad. I only have one Scratchpad in i3 at the moment. I plan on creating more, but I don't use i3 very often, so it eats my battery for some reason. I think it's i3 blocks. I have things refreshing too often or something. I don't know, but I don't use i3 very often strictly because of that. But basically what you do is you define your window rules here for a window, and then you want the instance to be drop down or whatever you name it. And then I have floating enabled because I do want it to be a floating window. You resize it so you can set how big you want it. You can change this to whatever pixel size you want. This is width, this is height. And then move Scratchpad, that's going to allow it to be shown and hidden. and then the border pixel, so that's just how many pixels you want your border. You can have it set to 0, or you don't even have to have this line if you don't want a border around it. Or you can put it whatever you want. You can put any other things in there, like border color, font, or whatever, depending on what type of scratchpad you're having. But once you have this done, then you want to go into your auto start, and you're going to want to set up an auto start for it, so that way when you boot into i3, it actually auto starts. This is the variable for my terminal, which is st, so it'll automatically start a instance of my drop down scratchpad, and it'll be hidden. So you're going to want that in your auto start, exec no startup ID, your terminal, and you want to name it. You know, the naming convention for different excuse me, for different terminal emulators is different, so you'll just want to so see, like if I do man st, and you look here, this defines the window instance name. So -n, you can see right here I have exec no startup ID, and that's my terminal variable, so that knows to call st as my terminal, and I have -n because that's the flag for st for naming that window instance name, and so I need it to be named dropdown so it knows what window it's calling. You're going to put whatever name you decide to name your scratchpad right there. Once you have that in your auto start, then you're going to go up and you are going to, sorry, I got to go all the way back up here. Yeah, you're going to assign your keys. So I have bind sim mod control return execute st name dropdown. I have that set because it'll automatically start at boot. It will auto start it for you, but if you actually close the window instead of just hiding the window, you have to relaunch it. So the bind sim mod control return is going to relaunch my instance of my scratchpad, but then mod return scratchpad show position center is going to re-show and hide my scratchpad. So again, if you actually hit your close keybind to when you close a window, you'll have to restart that instance, and that's what this first keybind does. And then this second keybind here, the mod return, for me hides and shows that scratchpad. Yeah, and so that's what you got to do in i3. Again, you basically set a window rule, which is down here. So you want to set your window rules for what you want the window to do and what you want it to look like. Then you have to auto start it, which I guess technically you don't have to auto start it. You could just do a keybind to start it when you wanted to, but it's just handy to auto start. So that'll auto start it, and then you set your keybind for starting it back up if you accidentally close it, or if you close it, and then to hide and show it. So that's how you do it in i3. So the last one we are going to, I don't have internet hooked up, but the last one, well, let's see if I have my cord with me. I can get into the internet, which I do, so hold on one second. Let me get my internet up and going. The last one I have is on DWM, and DWM does it a little differently because, well, it's DWM. And if you want to do something or change something on DWM, then odds are you have to patch. So if we just go in here and we go to suckless.org and we go to DWM and patches, there's a couple different there's a couple different scratchpads. There is named scratchpads. Oops. There is scratchpad, there's scratchpads, and then there's dynamic scratchpads. So basically, whichever one you choose to do, there is obviously the scratchpad is going to be a single scratchpad. Scratchpads is going to be multiple. And then I don't remember. Let me open up my DWM config here real quick, or my DWM So we're going to quit out of that. We're going to cd into gosh, I cannot type. Fig. Suckless. What are you talking about? Oh, I misspelled. Config su suckless DWM, and then we're gonna do an LL, and let's see here. Let me see. I have just Scratchpads. So basically I used this, I couldn't remember if I used named Scratchpads or just Scratchpads, but basically I took this patch and applied it to my my DWM config. So if you can see here, if you click on the diff here, it's going to show you. If you've never patched DWM, I'll do a video on that here coming up real soon, but you basically run the patch command, which is pretty simple. So if we are in our suckless DWM, you just do patch, as you can see right here, patch P1, then the less than symbol, and then you put the name of the patch there, and it will auto patch it for you, and usually it goes through, but sometimes you actually have to, there'll be an error or it'll fail to put something in there if you've got other patches that have already been done. But then basically you can pull this up and find out where it's, you know, had the error and everything, and manually input stuff. But again, I'll do a video on patching DWM here in the near future to show you that. But basically you go in and you patch DWM, and then if we do, oh, I moved my DWM config, so we're gonna go back in here and we will boy, I'm on the ball this morning. Config.h. If we go in here, and you can see that I've got right here, these are the Scratchpads I have in DWM. A terminal, my Ranger file manager, my email. Excuse me. I apologize. It's allergy season around here, so. And then my test menu, which basically was just a poor name for my editing configuration file. So those are the four I have for DWM. So once you get that patched, you come in here in your config.h or config.def.h, and you got to add these here, constant carrier spawn command, and then you put in here which is basically what terminal it is. If you're running a terminal scratchpad, you want it to be named, the name of it, and then you want to put how big you want it, obviously, and then null. And then down here, this is spawn scratchpads. These are the spawn commands, term, ranger, mailspring. And then as you come down here into your keybinds, you can see here toggle scratch. So, and then they're numbered here, 0, 1, 2, and 3. And if we go back up here, then we've got 0, 1, 2, and 3. So depending on which one you're trying to launch, those numbers will launch that one. So anyway, that's just a quick and dirty description of how you get Scratchpads working and just how great they are. They are my favorite part of my system. I use them way more than I probably should, but they're just great. They're very handy. You can be in the middle of doing something and quick pop up a terminal and okay, do what you need to do, close it out, and you're back to doing what you're doing. You don't have to split your window, you don't have to do any of that stuff. So, and again, you can create as many of them as you want, different names. So I could have my terminal up and going, and then I could launch my music, and then I could have my calculator over the top of it. And then, you know, I could do my email, which I'm not going to show, and then I could, I need my file manager. And then you just go back through and you can close out each one or hide each one, and they're good to go. When you have them open, you can move them around because they are floating windows. So if it opens up in the wrong spot or you need it out of the way for that instance, you can do that. When you close it, it's going to stay there until you close it completely. But then when you reopen it, it goes back to where it normally opens. So yeah, just a quick and dirty description and showcase of probably my favorite tool. This is basically in window managers. You do have in desktop environments, you have the option to minimize windows and stuff, which is nice, and you can set keybinds to do stuff like that. So it's kind of along the same lines, but again, the window manager for me is just a much better, much more efficient way to run my system. So just another reason I love window managers, the functionality of them and everything. So yeah. So if you found this video helpful or you enjoyed it, give me a thumbs up. Let me know. I appreciate any input you've got, and I hope you got a little bit of good information out of this. I'll go into depth in a little more detail. Maybe I'll actually create a couple more Scratchpads on camera here, but I just want to do a quick dirty video of just showcasing them and showing you how much help they can be and how useful they can be, and just kind of show you why I love them so much. So that being said, you guys have a great day. Appreciate you watching. Hope your weekend is full of all kinds of fun and enjoyment, and yeah, God bless. Stay safe.